Hi, welcome to today's video. My name is Paul. So this week I'm doing some dry media landscape painting. At the moment you can see me using some compressed charcoal, and then to add some color I'll use some soft pastels. And all of this is happening on a grey toned drawing paper. As often happens, I'm going to ramble on about stuff that's not directly related to the specific painting. It's more sort of general ideas about art. And usual disclaimer, they are just ideas. My opinions, my ideas. And the wonderful thing about art, and sometimes the frustrating thing about art, is none of us, or very few of us, ever really agree on everything. There's so many different opinions in art, and that's a good thing. It's a thing that defies definition, I think, art. What I want to sort of talk about in this video was the idea of creating mood in paintings. It's not something that I think about really, but given the number of YouTube videos and blog posts on the topic, and also that it does usually get mentioned in textbooks, maybe it's something that I should think about. I don't know. I've always said I don't really care what other people think about my art. I just make art, make stuff that I want to do, things that make me happy. And if people like it, that's fantastic. But I don't really worry too much about whether people like it or not. And I also don't really think too much about how other people might react to my art. So this idea of creating mood isn't really something that I think about. Maybe I should. I don't know. But anyway, it's a topic I'm going to try and talk about this week. Start off with this idea. To me, a landscape painting is not a landscape and can never be a landscape, in the sense that we cannot recreate reality. All we can do is illustrate reality, depict reality, but we can never actually recreate reality. And this is one of the problems I have with naturalistic style of painting. In the naturalistic approach, you're trying to get as close to reality as possible. Your depiction, your illustration, so you're using colors and values and linear perspective and things like that, not just in any random way, but you're using it according to strict rules, and you're trying to make your painting, your drawing, to look like reality as closely as possible. I always found that a bit of a dead-end approach, to me, just my opinion, because as I say, it's impossible to recreate reality. So it's impossible. The naturalistic approach is trying to do something that is impossible. At least this is the way I look at it. So I've always preferred the more abstract approach, the looser, freer way of making art, where you're not constrained by rules and you're not thinking, well, I have to recreate reality. You're having fun, and you're making expressive marks and something that may or may not end up looking like a landscape. Who knows? So what's this got to do with creating mood? Well, I think two things are important, or two things that often seem to be important in creating mood are color and values. And as I say, the naturalistic approach and the abstract approach, the modernist approach, have different ideas about how to use color and values. In the naturalistic approach, you have to use values and colors according to what you can see in the real world. So that's a bit limiting, I think. Whereas in the abstract approach, you can use whatever color you want, whatever values you want. It's up to you. There are no rules. So in that sense, there's more freedom, maybe more creative doors open up. You have more chance to do different things and to experiment. Two paintings on screen. On the left, you can see one by Vincent van Gogh, and then on the right, one of my paintings. Vincent's painting, it's often called Wheat Fields with Crows. It's one of his last paintings. He painted this probably the first or second week of July 1890, which is relevant and important because he died on the 29th of July 1890. So less than 3 weeks after completing this painting, his life was over. It's probably not his last painting, but it is one of his last paintings. And I'm showing this one because in terms of creating mood, Vincent has managed to use a bright blue sky, which I would often associate with happy, uplifting, sunny days, but he's managed to make it feel quite oppressive and foreboding, and you have a feeling looking at this painting that maybe something bad is about to happen. And I think it's his use of the dark colour in with the black or whatever it is, Prussian blue, in with the lighter blues. So it's the use of colour and values in the sky that creates this uneasy feeling, or at least when I look at it, it's an uneasy feeling that I have looking at this. I don't really think about creating mood, but generally I prefer paintings that are more harmonious or more neutral maybe, or paintings that are a little bit happier maybe. Renoir, the French impressionist, said that his favorite landscape paintings are paintings that he would like to step into and walk around in the landscape. I kind of share that idea. So although I'm a big fan of Vincent's art, this one in particular is not one of my favorites because I don't think I would want to walk into this landscape. It doesn't make me feel relaxed or comfortable. So creating mood, I guess color, values, these are important. The medium, I don't think that's so important, but the way you use the medium will definitely create a different feeling, I think. So in this case, Vincent's heavy impasto and the brushwork, I think that adds to the overall sort of uneasy feeling in the painting. The colors, it's not just the individual colors as well, it's also how the colors work as a whole, work together, and same with the values. So sometimes I think it's a good idea before painting to maybe sit down and think about a color palette that you're going to use. What colors am I going to use for this painting? It's something that I'm trying to force myself or persuade myself to do more, rather than just picking up random things and seeing what happens. Anyway, for what they're worth, those are my ideas in creating mood. I think it's mostly about color and values, maybe also the way you apply whatever medium you're using. But it is also very, very subjective. So the way one person will react to certain colors or color combinations is not necessarily the same as other people. And then of course you have to also take into account that some of your viewers of your artwork will be colorblind, and they will not see the colors in the way that you see the colors. I think it's something like 7 or 8% of men are colorblind, men and boys. I think it's less common for women and girls, but there are still people out there who will not see your painting the way that you maybe intended them to see. So take it all with a big pinch of salt, but it is certainly something, it's interesting and it's worth thinking about and looking at. And I say, I'm trying to force myself, especially with the soft pastels where I have lots of different colors, trying to force myself to be a bit more strict. And when I start a painting, these are the colors that I'm going to try and use. If you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching and listening, and hopefully see you again in next week's video.